We've got tips and recipes for healthy living. So for fun and inspiration, come and join us in the raw food world.
Welcome everybody, this is Matt Monarch with the Raw Food World TV show. And we are still at the Tree of Life. And Angela has been talking about interviewing this amazing man for the last 3 days.
Yeah, we are really excited and blessed to be in the presence of Mr. Dennis Banks, who was one of the co-founders, right, of the American Indian movement.
Yep.
And he's here at the Tree of Life on the Reversing Diabetes program. So we're really delighted to meet him.
Well, it's certainly great to be here because the Tree of Life just says it all. I mean, the name of the program, the Tree of Life, and reversing diabetes. I think it's a challenge that every diabetic should look at themselves and say, look, I want to reverse diabetes in my body, and start on the road to good health and good nutritional eating by eating raw foods. And I think that is the answer. You know, there might be other answers that we haven't found yet, but I think that's the essential need is to get raw foods, raw vegetables, uncooked vegetables into our system. And to me, that's one of the great answers. Plus a little bit of exercise, a little bit of walking. But we're not heavy on walking. We're heavy on the principles of eating raw food.
Wow, so how long have you been here at the Tree of Life for?
This is my 19th day. I've lost 28 pounds. I've my blood sugar, which was like 140 to 160 when I came here, is now leveling off to between 75 and 85. Wow. So a tremendous boost as far as I'm concerned for me, mentally, physically, spiritually, and I'm very confident that I'll be able to declare that I'm diabetic free within 90 days.
That's beautiful.
Wow.
Angela and I, we looked you up on the internet just to learn a little bit more, and we got very teary-eyed when we read about the history, like what happened in
1890.
1890, yeah.
Yeah.
Massacres that have been happening,
and then we were just like, we thought it was unbelievable what you did as a leader and stood up.
Well, somebody had to stand up, and I think a lot of Native people and women men and women were standing up. Just that, I guess the one with the loudest voice is the one that gets heard, and I was mad. I was determined to be heard. I just stood up and I just started yelling. Because it was just total abuse all the way around, from slum housing to no employment, and the dereliction of duty by this government, not recognizing the agreements of the treaties, many treaties we made with this country. The stipulations in those articles called for housing, called for agricultural areas to be developed, and our lands to be used for that. But they ignored all those articles, and so yes, I was screaming mad back in the '60s. But I seen it. I was taken away from my own home when I was 4 years old, and kept in boarding schools till I was 11. I couldn't see my mother and my father, and I lost that relationship that I had with them, as a sibling, as a son, and 11 years it was taken away from me. That's why I will always hate that experience and those people that did that. But it was not only myself that went through it. There were thousands of young Native children that went through it, and thousands up in Canada. And the terrible abuse that happened during all those boarding school years. So yes, I was mad. screaming mad, and I will stay mad until I see some changes coming from Washington. And I've seen, now this is the 6th president that I've seen, I've not seen them, but that they've been in office and the same policies come down the highway from Washington, D.C. They don't let us develop policies out in the field. They develop policies in Washington, D.C. And that's one thing. Another thing I've been screaming about all these years, president from Kennedy, you know, all the way down to Nixon. I got to say one thing about Nixon. He might have been viewed upon as a crook by many people and terrible things with the Vietnam War, but he was the only sitting president who gave land back to Native people. The only president that has ever done that is given land back to Native people. And it was under his term that, of course, the Wounded Knee happened. And but as I said, all the Clinton, the Bushes, Carter, and now Obama, and Ford, all these 6, as I said, 6 presidents of the United States I've seen in office, but no policy ever changes. They're always saying we want change in Washington, but no change ever comes. We're still being kicked around. We're political footballs. Whenever the Democrats are in, we get kicked around. Whenever the Republicans are around, we get kicked around. So I will yell at the top of my voice any chance that I get. And so, but you know, I'm also going to yell about conditions that I'm in as a diabetic. Is what kind of food have I been subjected to all these years? You know, from restaurants, cafes. You know, there should be a different meaning about food, nutritional food. I mean, if they were to put nutrition on the food they were serving us at restaurants, it would be 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. There's no nutrition in it, or else fatty foods that harm us and kill us. I mean, there are some fatty foods, fat that's helpful. Avocado is one of them. I mean, I love that. But I mean, they serve us all the, especially meat that's been just injected with hormone after hormone and after hormone. And these hormones don't die, even if they're fried up in grease and frozen. They don't die. So once they come alive again, then hormones spring up, and then pretty soon you have a situation where it's being transferred to the consumer, to the person who's eating the food, and then all of a sudden, then there's internal problems in that person. Mm-hmm. Diabetes, there is a cure for diabetes. And you know, there's big organizations that are saying there's no cure for it, so they're pumping out all these medications for us, and prescription upon prescription. I went through mine today. I was on 8 prescribed drugs to take care of my diabetes, and since I've been here, I got rid of them all. I threw them away.
Wow!
And I feel better. I feel great. I don't feel trembling anymore, and I don't feel nervous or sweaty or nausea. I don't feel any of that. I feel great, and that's because of the diet that I'm on, raw food, and I don't eat as much. As I said, I feel better. I'm losing weight, and I just feel good. I know I can live. I mean, I might die tomorrow of a heart attack, but heart attack might kill me, but diabetes won't kill me. I'll overpower that.
Do you intend to carry on eating this way after you leave here?
Oh, absolutely. I've already alerted my community. They're waiting for me now. They've been following what I've been going through. Every night I give a little report on the internet, and a lot of them they want a big meeting with me. Wow. How can we all become, you know, good vegetarians? I mean, not good vegetarians, but how can we become vegetarians? Because our people eat a lot of fish. We have been fish eaters and meat eaters all of my life, and ceremonially, we have fish in our ceremonies, and we also have red meat. But we don't have beef, but we have like deer meat, moose meat, and we have wild rice. These foods like that, those are...
Thanks for joining us. We'll see you again at the Raw Food World.